My name is Caitlin McDonald. I serve on your Board of Trustees, and here are this morning's announcements. From Carolyn, sorry. So during the coffee hour today in the foyer, there will be 2 climate action opportunities. You can learn about the Energize Franklin website that's being created. More details will be later in the service. Dave Rittenhouse, one of its creators, can show you some of the work in progress on his laptop. Franklin residents can send a message and sign your name on the Valentine posters from Representative Jeff Roy and Senator Becca Rausch to encourage them to pass bold climate legislation this session. There will be a table in the middle of the rug in the foyer behind the greeting table so everyone can gather around to participate. The Valentines will be delivered to the State House Tuesday on Valentine's Day. And from the Asset Team, next Saturday, February 18th from 9 until noon, the Asset Team is hosting Fresh Start Saturday, a community spring cleaning event inside the Meeting House. After several months without a permanent custodian, we need to pitch in and get things in shape before our new custodian takes over. No specific talent other than a willingness to work together for the good of our community is required. Whether you have 1 hour or 3 hours to contribute, we hope you will help. It is always more fun to clean someone else's house. And coffee and snacks will be provided. And one more. From Margie. Thanks. Do you remember the classic human bingo game from your camp days? Please join us for 10 minutes right after services today for a fun intergenerational FUSF version of the game here in the sanctuary. We'll distribute pencils and provide further instructions before we begin. Please then join us in the foyer for Valentine crafts and sweet treats brought to you by the Connections Committee, the Fellowship Cafe, and Religious Education. And for now, please no peeking in the game board you received with your hymnal. Next week's service is entitled Drop Back 10 and Punt, and that will be with Reverend Bev Waring. And as usual, check the e-messenger and calendar for any updates. And also, if you have any announcements, please send them by 5 p.m. the Friday before service to announcements@fusf.org. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Hello there. My name is Rachel Plukas. It's a pleasure to be serving as your worship associate today. It's a special pleasure. I want to welcome the guests who are here, as well as the folks who have celebrated Valentine's Day week with this community for a number of years. We've got a bingo game coming up. And I'd like to remind some of our veterans that on Valentine's Day, there has been a habit of getting quite competitive with a chocolate auction that used to. And it was a time where, yeah, things did get downright competitive. We were raising money for the church, so it was fine. But today in bingo, I hope we all come together and we find, we put fun first, which is what we did back then. So we are going to begin our service today we're going to, during this service, hear from Rand and Carolyn Barthel about the work that they do every single day, every single moment of every day, and leave empowered with their guidance. This is one of those services where you leave with action items, something that Unitarians absolutely love. So we're going to begin here. If you are visiting or if you are new here, there is a guest book that will be posted in the chat on Zoom that you can sign in with. There's also a physical copy out in the foyer there, so please go ahead and sign that. And with that, we're going to get started.
Good morning. It's great to see you all here. It is said that ministers are here to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. I say we are all afflicted and we are all comfortable. May our time together this morning be a comfort and a confrontation. May we here find peace in times of tumult. May we here invite tumult into our lives of peace. May we here find calm in times of restlessness. May we here allow restlessness to evolve into action. Let this be the place you consider that you've never considered. Let this be the place you imagine for yourself something new and unthinkable. May this hour bring dreams of new ways of being in the world. Come, let us worship together. And if you are able, please rise, and we will sing hymn 163 in the gray hymnal.
For the mountains
All right, hello again. We're going to engage in a little bit of nepotism right now, and I'm going to invite my son Jonah to come and light the chalice here. So go ahead, bud, come on up. While we light this chalice, we're engaging in a practice that Unitarian Universalists all over the world do on a Sunday morning and when they gather. There we go. Let the lighting of this flame kindle within us a blaze of hope, strengthening us for the path ahead. May it guide our feet to take us where we are needed, our hands to work for justice, our minds to know our interconnectedness, and our hearts to loving kindness for all. Now we're going to rise as we are willing and able to sing in our unison affirmation that's printed on the inside of your hymnal.
Good morning. My name is Diana Tesney, and I am the Director of Religious Education here at the First Universalist Society in Franklin. And I've been away for a couple weeks, and I'm back, and I'm feeling awesome. Yay! I want to thank you all. I sent something in the e-messenger, but thank you so much for the support of this community during my medical leave has been quite a blessing, and it's one of the reasons that I'm doing as well as I am. So thank you. I'm very, very grateful. I would like to invite the children to come up and sit here. I have a little story, but while you're wandering up here, take a look at this amazing art on the wall. Is that your art? My goodness, you all are famous artists. Hi, Pepper. Hi, Magnolia. You guys can sit here or wherever. I just know that then you can look at the art like from a different angle, right? So that's good. So wow, well, we enjoyed making this art for you. This is something that's been a long time coming. I've been thinking that it would be so nice for our children to have something up on the art wall because they're all amazing artists, and art is something that we really value here at FUSF. Creativity and the expression of personal creativity for the joy of the world. So thank you for creating all of that for us, my dearest. Okay, I have a story for you all, and it's a story that you may know already, maybe a familiar story, but hopefully you can kind of hear it with new ears today. So once upon a time, in a faraway land, it was summer. Imagine summer. Okay, but in this place, it was hot, really hot, and dry. There had been no rain for many weeks. And the grass was dry, and the land was dry, and all of the streams had dried up. This is maybe in California, where I'm from, right? Where in the summertime, there's nothing in that stream bed at all, ever. So all of the animals that lived in this land were very thirsty, and they had to really be creative about how they were going to try to find water for themselves. So one very, very hot day, there was a crow who was flying around the land looking for water, looking for some, maybe on the underside of a stone, or maybe in a shadowy place there might be some water, someplace in the forest. And he flew and looked, and finally he came to a house where someone had left a pitcher of water out in the backyard on a bed of rocks, like stones. And the grass was there, and the deck was there, and there was this pitcher of water. And the crow said, "Oh, thank goodness, I am so thirsty. There is some water." And he poked his head down into the pitcher to get the water out, and he couldn't reach it. It was way down there. It was one of those pitchers that had a narrow bottom, and then it got a little wider at the top, and he couldn't get his beak down far enough. Almost, right? Almost he could reach it. And he thought, oh my gosh. Now, it's a wonder that the crow didn't get his head stuck in the pitcher, right? Trying so hard, that would have been a disaster. But he just realized, he tried and tried and tried, and he could not reach the water that was in the pitcher. And he thought, oh no, I'm so discouraged. I'm so thirsty. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he thought, oh, if only I had some water. And he closed his eyes, and he remembered what the streams looked like when they were full. And they were rushing with water over some stones. Have you ever seen how pretty it is when you put a stone in water? Like an ordinary looking stone, if you put it in water, it kind of magically changes. Has anyone ever noticed that? It's kind of cool. You go, oh, wow, it's so beautiful. And then when it's dry, it just looks like an ordinary stone. So the crow was thinking about this, and he thought, oh, I remember how beautiful the stones look with the water running over them. And he picked up a stone in his beak, and he put it in the bottom of the pitcher, just to kind of see how pretty it would look, right? To remind himself that maybe, in spite of the fact that he was super thirsty, there was still something beautiful in the world, like a beautiful stone with water on it. And it was beautiful. But then, and this is important, he noticed something else. Does anybody know this story? What happened when he put the stone in the pitcher? Yeah, Pepper, what happened? The water rose a little bit. So he didn't just do something. He did something, and then he went, wait, what happened here? The water rose up a little bit. And he thought, wait a second. And he put another stone in the pitcher, and the water rose a little bit more. And he put another stone in, and another stone in, and another stone in, and pretty soon, bloop, 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 the water came up enough so that it came into the top part of the pitcher where it was wide and flat, and he could easily take a long, cold drink of water. And the crow thought, I feel so much better. And he flew away. Now, not only did that action help the crow, but a bunch of other little songbirds who were also very thirsty were able to come to the pitcher, and they were able to drink. And some other animals were also able to come to the pitcher and drink. And they didn't drink all the water. They just took little bits because they knew everybody needed to share it. But it was enough. The water in that pitcher was enough to keep the animals from being very thirsty until it rained again. So that crow's one little action and his noticing, that's an important piece, I think. Like, not just to go, oh, wait, now what just happened here? Right. Made all the difference for all of those creatures and animals. Please join me in singing the children out.
Our responsive reading is number 567 in the Gray Hymnal. I want to be with people who submerge themselves in the task. Who stand in line and haul in their places. The work of the world is common as mud. Botched, it smears the hands, crumbles to dust. Greek amphoras for wine and oil, Hopi vases that held corn, are put in museums, but you know they were made to be used. And now we will hear from the choir.
Listen to the wind. The wind speaks wisdom. Listen to the sky singing joy. Listen to your heart. Her rhythms teach you love. She will teach you love. Listen, listen, learn and live. Listen to the sea crashing with courage. Listen to the rain, for her song brings growth. Listen to the snow. Snow will teach you peace. She will teach you peace. Listen.
Today's plate giveaway will go to 350 Mass, a statewide grassroots movement working to end fossil fuel dependency and secure a just transition to a clean energy future. Its work includes advocating for deep systemic, environmental, and economic shifts through public policy, direct actions, education, and outreach. 350 Mass is aligned with the mission and values of 350.org, but is a separate 501c3 organization with its own funding sources. 350 Mass works mostly at the state level, while 350.org works at the national and world levels. The 350 in the name refers to 350 parts per million of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, a level considered safe by climate scientists. That level stands at 419 today. We, Carolyn and I, have been active members of 350 Mass since 2013. We stay involved because 350 Mass tells the truth about the gravity of the problem and offers a wide variety of ways for people with different interests and abilities to get involved.
For some words from Dorothea Day. People say, "What is the sense of our small effort?" They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time and take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spread in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, our words, and our deeds is like that. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. No one has a right to sit down and feel hopeless. There's too much work to do. Thank you.
One thing is for sure about the climate crisis. It's big. It threatens the entire world's future and affects something as basic as how we use energy in our daily lives. In this sermon, we are not going to scare you with a lot of doomsday talk. Instead, we want to offer some down-to-earth answers to the first question faced by anyone looking to do something about the climate problem. How do I get started? Indeed, there has never been a better time to take action. A decade of progress has brought us to an inflection point. Renewable energy and related technologies are beginning to win in the marketplace. At the same time, the war in Ukraine has exposed the fragility of the world's fossil fuel system and undermined fossil fuels' claim to be the reliable source of energy. We're at a tipping point where every little push in the right direction helps start the snowball rolling down the right side of the mountain. We've reached a political tipping point, too. Public concern about climate drove the Massachusetts legislature to pass 2 landmark laws in 2 years: the Next Generation Roadmap Act of 2021 and the Clean Energy and Offshore Wind Act of 2022. These bills committed the state to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050 and started to define programs to achieve that audacious goal. At the federal level, the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022 represents the largest public investment in climate mitigation ever. Together, these acts contain many incentives to make renewable energy technologies more affordable, so households can save money and reduce their carbon emissions. Let's go through the main technologies and see how the new laws make them more affordable for members of our congregation. And I'm happy to say that Carolyn and I are aware that a number of you have already taken some of these actions or are preparing to. Yay us! So let's start with insulation and weatherization. This may not be glamorous, but it's often the first thing to do. These types of investments tend to pay back quickly. Strengthening the thermal envelope of your home saves money, reduces emissions, and can make an eventual heating upgrade less expensive by reducing the size of equipment you have to buy. A good place to start is a home energy audit. The Mass Save program here in the state offers free energy audits, which are useful, but they vary in how thorough they are. One of our legislative goals is to improve them. The federal government offers a tax credit of up to $1,200 per year for insulation and energy-efficient windows and doors. And Uncle Sam will cover $150 of the cost of an energy audit. So you can spread the investment out over several years and take the credits multiple times. That's a good deal. Let's take a look at home heating and cooling. About 75% of Massachusetts households heat with fossil fuels. Heating Massachusetts buildings is the source of about 30% of the state's greenhouse gas emissions. We can reduce these emissions by installing heat pumps. A heat pump is best thought of as an air conditioner that can reverse direction. In summer, it cools the inside of your house by moving heat energy to the outside. In winter, it reduces the process by moving heat from outside to inside. A heat pump is several times as efficient as a furnace because it works by moving heat that already exists instead of burning fuel to create heat. Now, there are 2 kinds of heat pumps. Air source heat pumps move heat to and from the air outside your house. Ground source heat pumps, also called geothermal systems, move heat to and from the ground outside your house. Geothermal is more efficient, but also more expensive and may not be compatible with a house's heat distribution system. Air source heat pumps used to be practical only in milder climates, but they have gotten better, a lot better in the last decade. There are also hybrid systems that combine an air source heat pump with gas or propane-fired furnace. These can be retrofitted into homes that have forced hot air heating. The heat pump operates most of the time and can be supplemented by gas during extreme cold. You don't have to replace your existing heating system to take advantage of air source heat pumps, nor do you have to replace your whole heating system all at once. You can use so-called ductless mini-splits to introduce heat pumps incrementally, room by room. If you do this, you can keep your existing heating system as a backup and run it only in extremely cold weather like what we had last weekend, or when the power goes out. In December, Carolyn and I went live with our geothermal system. Some special circumstances put this within our financial reach. Our domestic water well was deep enough to do double duty as a geothermal well, so we already had the well dug. And our home's forced hot water system was able to work with a lower water temperature. The system got through the recent cold snap with flying colors. Our case underlines that it's important to do your homework and work with contractors who really know their stuff. There is a 30% federal tax credit for heat pumps for heating and cooling, including a special credit of as much as $2,000 for electrical service upgrades that may be needed to make a home heat pump ready. The Commonwealth's Mass Save program offers rebates of up to $10,000 for air source heat pumps and $15,000 for ground source heat pumps. So these are substantial forms of help for those of us who want to do this. Moving on to solar panels, every kilowatt hour we generate with solar panels is a kilowatt hour that wasn't generated by burning something. In Massachusetts, about half of our electricity supply is generated by burning natural gas. Electricity is expensive now because Massachusetts depends on gas both to make electricity and to heat buildings in the winter, and because the war in Ukraine has driven up natural gas prices internationally. Solar panels pay for themselves by a combination of net metering, which is running your electric meter backwards, and the Massachusetts SMART program, which pays you a monthly amount per kilowatt hour generated. It typically takes 6 to 9 years to recover your investment, after which you have decades of free electricity to enjoy. That really helps when you electrify your heating and cooling or buy an EV. Uncle Sam offers a 30% tax credit on residential solar. Massachusetts has a 15% tax rebate up to a maximum of $1,000, which isn't a lot, but every bit helps. Battery storage. Here's a new technology. A home battery provides backup power for power outages. It can also save you money if your electricity is billed on a time of use basis, because you can run your house on the battery at peak times when electricity is expensive. Now, I don't think we have that really in Massachusetts very much yet, but it may be coming. Batteries don't directly reduce CO2 emissions, but they help prepare the grid for the intermittent energy sources of the future by storing electricity. Carolyn and I enrolled our battery in National Grid's demand response program, which enables the utility to buy electricity from our battery in times of peak demand. The payments we get are defraying about half the cost of the battery. Solar plus battery makes a great combination. One of our 2 solar arrays is connected so it charges the battery, then sends power to the grid once the battery is full. With this setup, we get higher compensation from National Grid for battery power because the electricity didn't come from them in the first place. If a multi-day power outage hits, Our panels will recharge our battery during daylight, so we'll always have at least some power. The 30% federal tax credit and the $1,000 Massachusetts rebate for solar panels apply to home batteries too, and to battery plus solar combined projects. Now, all this stuff is expensive, but there's help on the financing side also. Many of the things we've been looking at are major capital investments. To make financing easier, MassSave offers interest-free loans of up to $25,000 for as long as 7 years for all of the above investments. That's a big help. Lastly, there are electric vehicles. I hate to say it, but EVs are not truly green. Manufacturing EVs takes resources and energy just like gas cars. And today, a lot of the electricity to run them comes from burning fossil fuels. But EVs are so efficient that they have much lower direct and indirect CO2 emissions over their service lives than gas cars or hybrids, even with today's electricity. As the grid gets greener, so will all the EVs that use it, and they're fun to drive. They're lots of fun to drive. The Federal Inflation Reduction Act includes a tax credit of up to $7,500 for new EVs assembled in North America, and $4,000 for used ones. On top of that, Massachusetts has a program called More EV that offers a $3,500 rebate for EVs that have a sale price of $50,000 or less. So finally, if you have any questions about all of this, I'd love to talk to you after the service.
While Rand has emphasized how you can reduce your own carbon emissions through federal and state incentive programs, I want to discuss the multiple levels of climate action and how they can overlap. Rand and I have been encouraging people to take climate action for over 10 years now. We joined 350 Mass in 2013. 350 Mass is a grassroots movement working to end fossil fuel dependency and secure a just transition to a clean energy future. The work includes advocating for deep systemic environmental and economic shifts through public policy, direct action, education, and outreach. There's something for everyone at 350 Mass, whatever your abilities are. I encourage you to consider joining 350 Mass. It's an organization that helps our church accomplish its climate justice initiative, much like the Food Justice Initiative works with the Franklin Food Pantry. We meet twice a month on Zoom, although we're considering shifting to some in-person meetings here at church, as we did pre-pandemic. With an eye to state climate goals, we're mainly focused on local efforts to forward our climate mission, such as occasionally speaking for 3 minutes as Franklin citizens preceding town council meetings to highlight what climate actions the town could push. A few town council members want Franklin to take on more carbon reduction challenges, whether it's passing a solar ordinance, adopting the new net zero building code / specialized stretch code, or hiring a sustainability manager. Franklin has done a good number of climate actions and has much to be proud of. But there are more townwide actions it could take. The Franklin Town Council and the town residents need to understand what those actions could be. You are welcome to join us in making public comments. We can even help you write them. Our 350 Mass node is also putting together a website called Energize Franklin. It's supported by a nonprofit organization called Mass Energize. The organization offers training and assistance to towns to help town websites, to create town websites, to help neighbors inform and inspire each other to take various climate actions. The idea is to provide information and testimonials so that people in town can be inspired by what others have accomplished, whether it's installing solar panels, heat pumps, or participating in Black Earth composting. The website costs $2,000 for the first year for volunteer training and website assistance, and $900 a year for maintenance after that. So far, we've raised $1,400 of the $2,000, with $600 to go. Some Franklin Town Council members have made donations, and they generally support our effort, but the town budget is already set for this year. If you'd like to make a tax-deductible donation to defray the website costs, please see Dave Rittenhouse, a Franklin resident, from our 350 Mass node. Where are you, Dave, so people can recognize you? Thanks. He'll be in the foyer where you can see what the website looks like so far. We're still in the middle of creating it. We know a number of church members and friends who have already reduced their carbon emissions by installing solar panels, heat pumps, and buying EVs. We welcome any Franklin residents to write testimonials for the site. We need to fill this out. We need to have this be real, of neighbors helping each other. It's cool to know your neighbors are already taking action. Dave will be in the foyer during coffee hour showing the website. He would also be happy to receive any contributions if you'd like to support the town-wide website. Check it out. Of course, climate action can be synergistic. People who take personal steps, such as installing insulation, heat pumps, or solar, can be excited to share their information on the Energize Franklin website to inspire their neighbors. Hopefully, they'll want to support the legislature to pass bills that support more expansive climate programs for more people across the Commonwealth. See how this is all circular and synergistic? The more that local residents are charged up about local efforts, the more they would feel empowered to support the legislature to take bolder steps. Some of the current legislation 350 Mass is pushing empowers environmental justice communities to have a greater voice, creates and strengthens programs to help people electrify their homes, begins to provide financial assistance to low-income communities for this work, and moves buildings across the Commonwealth off of fossil fuels. These are all legislative goals that move the state to cleaner, greener energy and reduces our carbon emissions. Personal and public climate action can amplify each other. We can all row together. Thank you. So, we will now stand, if you are able, sing the hymn 1028, The Fire of Commitment, in the Teal hymnal. May you leave this time together changed. May the promises you have made to yourself about who you want to be feel closer to the reality of who you are now. May you share that feeling of transformation wherever you go. May it spread into every word, deed, thought, and interaction until we are all changed, transformed, and transforming together, becoming our better selves. And now we'll sing together our farewell song.